Hi everyone, today I am going to talk to you about how to remove certain highlights when you by accident painted in a section that you were not supposed to paint in. Just want to remove this light out of the way so it doesn't shine on my paper, because it is a beautiful I would say spring day, nearly spring. It's not yet spring, but it's getting there. Just open these windows here. So what I have here is a magic eraser, which is this brand that I bought from locally here in South Africa. And if you search online, you can find them. They're a bit dirty there, but they look like a sponge. So if you open this, they have like a spongy consistency, and if you wet this, you can erase watercolor. I also clean the house with this, so they're very handy. I cleaned my stove top. I cleaned my Louis Vuitton handbag because I had a denim jacket on, and it made blue marks on my Louis. And this is amazing stuff. So this is the brand, but obviously in other countries it might be called something else. But this is the Micro Whiz sponge from Very Mild. Anyway, so what I do is I just break small pieces off. So I will break a piece off now. You can cut it as well. And then obviously you want clean water. So you want your clean water, and then you want your painting where you by accident painted into something or highlighted section, or you want to remove certain paint. So what I want to do is I'm going to act like this is a rose petal or a flower, and I want to remove a highlight. So I'm going to use my I just want to show you, this is called erasing shield. Let me just get comfortable so that I can show you. It's so hot today. It's a beautiful spring day. I'm going to work in the garden later. Paint a bit and just relax. So this is called the erasing shield, and you can buy them from many art stores. I bought mine from a stationery store from where I bought the girls' stationery for school, and they have different shapes. So say for instance I want to remove a little highlight like this, I will just add it onto, or just lie down on the part that I want to remove, and then dip it in my water. Just move my water through there. I'm just using this lovely little Faber-Castell collapsible little water holder. You have to clean it out every day because they do get a bit slimy inside. I don't know how to describe it. There's like a layer, I suppose it's from the pigment, but you do have to clean it out all the time. So I'm going to use quite a big piece that I want to remove to show you what I mean by this. So I just want to hold it down firmly. Make sure your sponge is quite wet and that you have tissue paper handy. So I'm going to just go over this section here, and just look at that. This is alizarin crimson on a piece of Archer's hot press watercolor paper. So of course you have to be careful which paper you use, because certain papers you can't wet too much. They will buckle. So I would suggest that you stretch your paper, and that you obviously make sure that you can use this magic eraser or any scrubbing brush on your paper before you do that. But Arches and Fabriano, there's quite a lot of brands. Sorry, there are quite a lot of brands where you can use a scrubber or eraser. I've tested this many times on my paper. So I'm going to just lift it off quickly and just show you. look at that. My phone is in the way. Let me just move it to the side a bit. There you go. So that's a highlighted section, and look how beautiful that is. This is quite a pigmented pigment that I used on here. This is this is Winsor & Newton's alizarin crimson, and it removed it beautifully. So I'm just going to clean it because I'll show you a different one. Let's try this little circular shape there. So I would highly recommend you use one of these little erasing shields before you, instead of just trying to go in specifically if you want to say go into a section, because it's very difficult to remove it like that. It's very easy to only go into that little section that's on the painting. I'm going to go in and just remove that little rounded half moon. Well, it's not really half moon, but half line shape. And again, I'm going to just dip it in and rinse all the pigment out, and just do it again, and lift it up, and use your tissue paper and just dab it down, and just look at that. It's amazing. So now I messed on my paper, and this also works if you mess a little drop of pigment on your watercolor painting. It's very easy to use. You just wet it and then just use it on your watercolor paper, let that section dry, and then you go back and you obviously paint again. So the other option is to use a scrubbing brush. These are all my scrubbing brushes, and this one, I think you can buy this overseas as well. It's called a scrubber from Creative Mark. I will not necessarily use this on my paper. I spoke to my online students before about this scrubber brush. It is very hard. I don't have anything to show you. Oh, this is a magic eraser. No, sorry, this is a rubber eraser, but if I can show you, it is quite hard. But anyway, if you want to use it, this is what it will do. It will, you can use it. I just find this ruins the paper. It lifts up the paper. I'm just not happy with it. I bought all of them, the whole pack. I don't like what it does to my paper. I don't like what's happening on my paper. It lifts up some of the paper, so I don't like that. So I don't use them. I bought them, and maybe for something else they will be perfect, but not for watercolor paper. And this is very strong paper. This is Artist hot press watercolor paper, so I don't really like that, although it did remove some of the pigment, but I don't like them. The other option is this little brush, which is the black silver by it's from a Thailand. It's a Thailand brand. It's Dynasty. It's a number 6, and you can see I've used mine quite a lot already. The hairs are very used. You can see there. I've got some pigment on my nails from the alizarin crimson, but anyway, this is how I would also remove some markings on my paintings. I will just go in and rub it on the paper. Obviously it doesn't remove, it will not remove as much as with your erasing blade shield, the erasing shield, but we can perhaps put it down and just try and hold it still and just use it on the paper like this, and then just dab it up with a tissue paper. And my brush is very soft at the moment. I've used it so much already. I need a new one, but but this is quite a lovely brand. And if you lift it up, there's a tiny little highlight there. And then that was what I did with my brush, used on my brush. So again, you can obviously just go over it and over it until you are satisfied with the amount of pigment that you removed. But I can highly recommend investing in one of these little erasing shields. They are not expensive. I think I paid 30 bucks for this one, 30 rand for this one. If you from a different country, this is from South Africa, and so these are the little lovely shields that you can use, and they have quite a few. There's quite a few different shapes on there. And this is like a little teardrop, and you can just see, you just rub it over and over until you're satisfied with the amount of pigment that you removed. Then you lift it up, wait for it to dry. Let's just dab up all the pigment because it will run back into this highlighted section. But this is what I use many times in my watercolor paintings. Then also this little circular ruler, it's lovely to have, because if you want to remove, say for instance, a circle, again, the magic eraser is amazing. It's in fact better than a scrubbing brush if you want to remove quite a lot of pigment. So you will go around in circles. Now just be careful because it will wet everything else, but you will go around, just move it around and around and around. Clean it out because there's a lot of pigment on the sponge. Go around, take a tissue, just dab up a lot of the pigment, because you will see if I lift it up there's quite a lot of water, but this is if you by accident painted in a highlighted section. And then just dab up with a tissue again and then remove it, and there's your beautiful circle. Now I have a little bit of a stiffer brush that you can also use, and let's test a smaller circle. So again, this one is stiffer but not as stiff as this one. So we just want to remove some of this pigment because we want to have a circle on whatever you painted. And I just move it around. These little scrubber brushes don't last very long. From Planet Nails, a nail shop. I went in there and they had beautiful brushes there, so I bought a few. But you do get stiffer ones. Also a flat little brush. I used it quite a lot, as you can see as well. The little bristles are all frayed already. I tried to order brushes from Rosemary & Co, scrubber brushes, but unfortunately they told me that the postage to South Africa is more than the brushes because they have to use a courier company. So I didn't go for that option because the courier company was ridiculous just to deliver here in South Africa. But apparently they're scared of those lost goods that is happening in South Africa. I haven't experienced anything yet like that, but apparently it is happening. So I'll just have to stick to what I can find locally. I'm trying to see, this is the other little from this brand, this scrubber brand from Creative Mark. Again, if you have to remove something, then you can just hear on the paper. Now this is a normal scrubber brush. This is this one. Very hard. Very hard. So it will remove, but it will also damage the paper slightly. and I'm doing it softly, so look what it does to your paper. And then just obviously take a tissue paper and just dab it up, and you'll have a beautiful little circle. And there are different options. You can also use masking fluid to prevent going into certain sections of your paintings, which is, I just bought this brand. It's adequate, it's perfectly fine. So, and this is from South Africa, proudly South African brand. It was 56 Rand 99, and I bought it very long ago. But brilliant. I think they're all the same. They all, you do get one with a tiny little nozzle from I think it's Daniel Smith, I'm not sure, or Sminky, I'm not sure, I'll have to check. But I would like to try one of those, especially if you want to just quickly go into certain sections. This was a quick little practice to show you how I would remove pigment if I have to on a watercolor painting, for instance a flower or petal or anything that you painted where you want to remove your paint. Make sure that the paper dry, completely bone dry. Use a hair dryer if you have to, before you go back and do another layer over that, just to make sure that it's dry completely. So this is what I will recommend: a magic eraser, a erasing shield, and scrubber brushes of your choice. I have a few. Obviously with my more expensive ones I don't leave them in water, but these ones are for acrylic and oil, also very nice. Very nice little scrubber brushes. So like I say, I have a few. I tested a few. This one too. I didn't leave all of these in water, it just happens. I don't leave them like this, so this is not the reason. This is just very cheap wood that they use for this. So I can highly recommend these black silver little scrubber brushes. They are amazing. This one is very old, my first one. So again, let me just show you quickly what I used. Is the little magic eraser, the erasing shield. I can, again, like I said, highly recommend this. You can also buy these little alphabetic little eraser shields, or this is not an eraser shield, but it looks like I use it for that, where you can just remove the A, for instance, and it's quite difficult to get in there, but if you just wiggle it a bit, it removes a little bit of the pigment. And just go back all the time and wet it and clean your brush, your sponge, and then dab it with tissues. But it will remove a lot of the pigment. As you can see, there's a beautiful A. Well, a B also, look. And you can also just remove half of it. You don't have to remove all the pigment. If you just want a soft highlight, then you won't go in too hard, and you will just go in once and you'll remove that. So this I can't be without. So this is highly, highly, highly recommended from me if you paint flowers, even animals. I use a lot of these, even if I just use a little half of that for a corner of a highlight of the eye, if I by accident painted in that. And then obviously your magic eraser. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.